Hey everyone, what's going on? Welcome to the channel and welcome to this brand new series called Life Stories. I'm going to share with you stories from my past and open myself up to you guys and tell you about some things that happened in work life or personal life that I just want to share with you guys on YouTube. And this first story today is all about my first day ever as a manager in my working career, which is a nightmare to relive. And is a one that still haunts me to this day. Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Really appreciate you clicking onto this video, and if you're not subscribed as of yet, feel free to hit the red button down below to do so. And also, if you want to join Patreon, where these videos are actually going to be early before being shown on YouTube, click the link down below in the link tree. You can join from there from only £2 per month. Big shout out very quickly to all my awesome Patreons. Really support them and really appreciate them for all their support as well. Now, let's get into this story. So to give you a little bit of context and where we're going to start here, we're going to take this back to around September time of 2013. So I was working for a company at the time that is no longer around. Well, it is technically online, but I'm not going to mention what that company is. I was working at their Newcastle shop, but the company itself did not renew the lease for the building, right? So I was going to be made either redundant or I was going to lose my job. Now, in this meantime, of course, I didn't want to lose my job in terms of I would then have no money. I'd have to go on like a new job search, X, Y, and Z. I definitely did not want that. So what I ended up doing is going onto the job board, and I found online a job vacancy for Lego, and I was like, wow, Lego coming to my local area. I was like, wow, this is insane. I would never expect this. And I remember as a kid playing with Lego bricks, building them up as like football goals or just playing with the bricks as a whole. I really have fond memories. So I thought, heck, let's do it. So I submitted my application, I got offered an interview, and then I got offered the job. And I was like, wow, I can't believe this, just in time as this store I was working for was closing down, and I couldn't believe my luck. So when it came time to open the store, and there is stories about opening the store, which I may, dive into in another video, I was a sales associate, right, or a sales assistant, but the official job title was a brick specialist, right? So really cool title. So anyway, as I was a brick specialist, about a few weeks or a month or so after I was doing this, and of course a busy Christmas rush, the store had put open a vacancy for a supervisor job, right? Now before this, I'd never been a supervisor. I'd been like Christmas temp and then kind of like sales associate, and I'd always push for that next stage. Like in my working career, I always want to get to that next stage and be better, right? So at this point, it came to the fact I went for this supervisor interview with no management experience whatsoever, and I didn't get the job. I got some feedback from the manager, and I said to the manager, look, by the time next time this comes around, I want to be ready and I want that job, and I'm going to get that job. So I worked hard in the spare time until September of 2014 came around. But until then, I worked hard. I was full time. I was never late. I did overtime. I stayed later than I needed to. I came in earlier than I needed to, basically to prove that I was ready for this position. But I also loved the job. So to me, I didn't have any, reluctancy to come in, earlier or leave later or anything like that. It was a joy to do so. Let me just put it like that. Roll round to September of 2014 and the supervisor job came open. So I went for the interview and I got some assistance from the assistant manager who gave me some pointers, and I was like, look, think about maybe X, Y, and Z if like these kind of questions come up, and I got the job. So massive shout out to her. I'm not going to mention her name, but she knows who she is if she's watching. So big thank you. I'm still grateful to you for this day. So I got offered the job and I was absolutely over the moon. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, I'm going to be a manager in the store that I absolutely love and in a job I absolutely love. What could go wrong? Well, the first day could go wrong. So let's fast forward a little bit later, about a week or so later after that interview. I then was coming into the store. I was kind of shadowing the assistant manager and the manager on separate turns and watching what they were doing, watching what processes I would need to follow and what new stuff I would need to incorporate in my daily routine and role into becoming a supervisor. So this carried on for like a few weeks or so, or maybe around about a month. I can't exactly roughly how long that was, but we get to something called D-Day, and D-Day means the nightmare day. Yes, we're going to take this to now the 6th of November of 2014, where this main story takes place. So I want to give a shout out to one person also called Kathy. Now, Kathy was a cleaner for the Lego store, and she wasn't hired by Lego. She was hired by like an agency, but she would come in pretty much like every other day, or like 3 or 4 times a week. I can't remember the exact rotation, but she would, you know, come and clean the store, right? Now, Kathy, I got to know on a personal level. Such a lovely woman, one of the nicest people I've generally ever met in my life. So, Kathy, if you're watching, a big shout out to you. So, anyway, on this rotation and the shift, however, Kathy was not in. So my start time was 7:30 in the morning because the store opened at 9. But they gave me a little bit extra time just to make sure I had everything right. Everything was pretty much done by the time the staff would start to come in for their shifts, okay? So, however, on this day, I was like, right, it's my first day in management. Come on, I've got to make a great experience. I came in for 7 a.m. So I was there half an hour earlier than I needed to be, and I didn't get paid for it, but I came in early because I wanted to make a great impression and show the manager and the assistant manager, look, I can do this. You've hired the right guy for the job. I am that person. So I came in at 7 p.m, got parked up in the car park, and I came to the back door, right? So you'd always enter through the back door. You could enter through the front, but I always enter through the back. Now, the layout I'm about to tell you may have changed in this time. This was back in 2014, 10 years ago from now. So this could be completely different. But back then, I had to go through the fire door. As soon as I went through the fire door, obviously I had to set the trip for the lights to come on, the electrics, and shut the back door. So, of course, no one would come in, health and safety, robberies, all that kind of good stuff. So, as soon as I came through the back door, there would be this little corridor as you come in through the door, and in this little corridor, see if you're here, straight ahead here would be the door to go on the shop floor. Right over here would be like the toilet, and then this door right here, before you got to the door for the shop floor, you would get this one here that would lead to the office and also the staff room, right? So that is obviously the door I needed to go in to start my morning duties, get myself set up and all that. However, when I entered through this corridor and the toilet was right here, I noticed that there was water coming out from under the lip on the toilet. And I was like, huh? Like, why is there water coming out from under like the lip of the toilet? Like, so I like looked around like my surroundings, like I stood still, but I looked and turned this way and I was like, has someone been in here? Is the place being burgled? Like, I mean, I don't know. I honestly did not have a clue. So I opened up the toilet door and found that there was water all over the floor. It had splashed, it had dampened like the spare toilet rolls, like the bins were soaked, everything. I was like, oh no. Oh no, I can't believe this. Is this like a big leak or what, right? So this is not the worst of the story. So after I noticed this water was in the toilet, I noticed it led into this next part in that door, as I mentioned, where you go in for the staff room and the office. Now, to give you a bit of context to this next part, I'm going to tell you where the nightmare is. In the Lego stores, they have a feature called a pick a brick. Put in bricks in the cup, and then of course, how many bricks you have in that cup you filled in, you buy the price the cup, right? So, at the time, we used to store the spare bricks to fill that wall for the inventory along the corridor before you'd go into the office and the staff room. So there'd be about 8 or 9 high in a row of about 12 or 15 rows of that, like high, to fill it, right? Little did I know that this water that was leaked from the toilet went into this corridor where I had to go in for the office and the staff room, and it actually had hit all the bottom boxes of these massive 50, like 9 high, of all these cardboard boxes that stored different bricks. And I walked in to this. Now imagine walking into that at 7 a.m. in the morning. I was stood in horror. I honestly did not know what to say. I was like, what do I do? Where do I start? I was not prepped for anything like this. I did not really know what to do. All my instructions were to, cash up the tills, make sure that the storefront is ready to open. And that's all I needed to do. I did not know about flooding. I did not know what the heck to do. So, bear in mind, I say this was 7 a.m. in the morning, right? And the night beforehand, I didn't have the best of sleep because I was excited for my first day. So, yes, I took the mop. I started to try pick these boxes up that were salvageable and which ones weren't salvageable because, of course, the bricks that were soaked through, you can't use those bricks for like contamination. If a customer was to pick up those, it's not very hygienic. You can't do that. So I had to separate the boxes that were pretty much gone, could not be used, and, obviously put them off to a separate pile to be wrote off, right? It's like stock. I cleaned all that up. I had to then sort the boxes that were actually still usable and put them over to one side until the floor was mopped so they could be, put back on. And this whole process and sorting the issue with the toilet took 1 hour and a half. It took that long because there was that much, and the water in the toilet, I had to fix it all by myself. And by this point, I'd done none of the cashing up. I hadn't counted any of the tills. I hadn't put them out onto the shop floor. I hadn't made sure that the shop was actually looking good or not. I walked into a mess. And by the time I cleaned up, it looked like this, which is an old picture from Snapchat. And that is what my first day of management ended up as in Lego. So I hope that you've enjoyed this story. It's definitely a nightmare that I relived, but also a very fond memory I remember. I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. If you want to see more of these life stories, definitely let me know in the comment section. And also let me know what you thought of this story. And if you've had any nightmare experiences like this yourself, would really appreciate you taking the time doing that. But thank you for tuning in. Make sure to click over here to see more content of mine that you may have missed already. And until the next time that I see you guys, I'll be seeing you later.